Hello everybody, my name is Red Wolf Does Game Dev, and today we are going to be making a simple door system in Unity. The doors we will be making today will be a normal door that you can open and close, a permanently locked door, and a locked door that can be unlocked with a key. Now let us start off with the easiest to do door, a normal door that just opens and closes. To be able to do this, you will need a script that allows you to interact with objects. If you have one, that is good. If you don't, I recommend watching the previous video where we made a um, interaction script that allows you to interact with objects in your game. Now, to make this door, I will make it without any special door models or anything. I'll just be using a cube for the sake of this demonstration. However, if you have any door models yourself, you can just go ahead and use them. First off, let's make this door 2 high, 1.5 wide, and 0.1 thick. For the sake of this demonstration, that is about the same size of the character model, the character bean, and thus should give us no issues. For this, we will be also using animations. So if you haven't used animations before, I recommend you read the Unity API on how animations work. Now, if we want to open the door, and we're going to be using animations, we are going to need to create those animations here in the animation tab. If you don't know where they are under Window, Animation, and then the animation option here, as well as the animator, which will allow us to edit the different types of animations and link them together. Now, if we wish to open this door as it is right now, it will open on the pivot. Now, the door's pivot is in the middle. That is not how we want to open the door unless you're making a revolving door. In that case, it will work. However, in case you're not making a revolving door, this is easily fixable. You go to your door. I will actually rename this real quick to door graphic. So we know that this is the graphics model of the door. And we will right-click the door graphic, and we will create an empty parent on top of this. Now this is going to be the door hinge. This is the point the door will rotate upon. Now as you see, this door hinge is still in the middle of the door, and if we want to move it, we move the entire door. To fix this, we move the door graphic itself, so the edge of the door graphic aligns with the door hinge right here. If you want some aid in visualizing this, if you go up here in the top right corner, you have the cube icon next to the name of the object. If you click on that, you can select icons that show up. As you can see, the door graphic is now on the door hinge, so if you are to rotate the door hinge, the door will open. Now I'm rotating this with the snappy way I'm rotating this is because I'm holding control. But as you can see, we now have a door that rotates on its hinge. Now above the door hinge we will make another empty parent, and this will just be the door. And this will be the simple door unlocked. I am going to get rid of this tag here, and I'm actually going to get the tag on the door unlocked itself. Now we are going to need an animator for this. So we go to door unlocked, we type animator in the search bar, after we click add component, and we add the animator here. Now we go to our assets, we go to my assets, or wherever you have your assets stored, we're going to create a new folder called animations. In animations, I'm going to make a new folder. This folder is going to be called doors. And in the doors folder, we are going to create. We're going to right click, create. We go to animation and we make an animator controller. I'll call this single door because the way this is made, you cannot make double doors. Hey, Red Wolf Impulse here. The scripts themselves will work for double doors, triple doors, revolving doors, anything that has interactions with it. It's just the animator that can't handle double doors because we are animating on a single door. If you want to make a double door, you need to redo animations and a new controller for double doors. That's all. So we do door unlocked and we drag single door into the controller here. Now, to actually animate said door, to make it open and close, we are going to go to the animation tab, once again found under window, animation, animation, and you can drag it into wherever you want it in Unity to stay. Now, we are going to have to make an animation, so we're going to click create. We are going to give this a name. I'm going to call this idle. You will soon see why. And we're going to save this. And in idle, nothing's going to happen. We're not going to do any animation in idle. Next up, we're going to go into creating a new animation again, and we'll call this open. This is the animation that will open the door. We'll add a property, door hinge, transform, and rotation. This will allow us to animate the rotation of the door. We'll slide it all the way over to the 1 second mark. This is 60 frames. This is a total of 1 second. And on the end, we will add a keyframe. And then we will come down here to rotation Y and we'll say 90 degrees. Or negative 90 degrees, whichever way you want to swing the door. For the sake of this tutorial, I will make the door turn away from us, so it will be negative 90 degrees for me. Now, as you can see, the door opens. We can't interact with the door yet, and if we go into the animator here, which you can find through Window, Animation, Animator, this is the current amount of animations we have. We have idle. You can see the golden arrow here. This means entry is when the object starts. The arrow goes to the starting animation, which is idle. And then it doesn't go to open. That is normal, that's fine. Instead, we will put open here. We will right-click idle, make a transition, and click on open. Now, after the idle animation has been completed, the door will be opened. Now we want to stop that. We only want to open the door when we interact with it. So what do? We go up here to parameters. We click on the plus here, and we're going to add in a trigger. Now the trigger is going to be used in the conditions over here, so I'll show that in a second. So we have the new trigger. We're going to call this door interaction. Now the reason I don't call this open is going to become very apparent in a second. So we have now the parameter door interaction. We go over here, conditions, list is empty. We're just going to click the plus and door interaction appears here. Now triggers, when they are executed, will immediately, let me rephrase this actually. When we will interact with the door, once we add that code in, the trigger will be set. It will execute this trigger, and because it executed the trigger will be unset. Now, we have the transition. If we do door interaction, it'll open the door. Let us remove has exit time here. This basically means wait until the animation is done before you execute the next animation. This is best to turn off for stuff like this. Now if we go to open, we double click open. It says loop time up here in the corner. We want to uncheck that, otherwise the door is just going to keep opening over and over and over again. And while we can't interact with the door just yet, let us see if this works so far. So we have the... Oh, I accidentally left this checked. So we have our door right here. It is closed, it's idling, it's not doing anything. Then we pretend we interact with it. We interacted with it, and the door opens. Very good. Now to close the door, we could just copy the open and copy the open, make another transition, make a transition back, and give both of these no exit. No, we want to keep exit time on this one. We can select both of these. We can add door interaction to it. And now every time we interact with the door, they will switch. All we have to do is just inverse the speed of open 0, so it plays the animation in reverse and closes the door. We could do this. However, then I'm not going to do this in this video, but down the line I'm going to show you how you can add events to animations. And for example, in the animation for open, you can add the event in the beginning where we play an audio because the door has been opened. Now, if we were to play the open in reverse, it would do its animation, it would come to the event here, and it would play the door opens audio. That's not what we want. So instead, we're going to make another animation, and we're going to call this close. Close. I'm going to put close over here. I'm going to make a transition to close. Add the trigger. Then we go back to scene, animation close, door hinge, transform, rotation. Going to back over to the 1 second mark. Going to add another keyframe. And then we're just going to add -90 in the start instead of the beginning. That way, when we play the animation, the door closes. Marvelous. Now we have a door that opens and closes, but we can't interact with it yet. So it's time to do the scripting of today's video. At least the first scripting. There's going to be some more scripting. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this folder doors. This is going to hold all our code for the doors. And we are going to make a script, and I'm going to call it the door interaction controller. This is going to control all the door interactions of this object. We're going to put this, actually gonna give it a second to compile. There we go. Otherwise I can't add it over here. We're going to take the door interaction, we're going to put it under the door unlocked, and then we're going to double click and it's going to open Visual Studio Code for us. Now, this is where you're going to need your interaction script. Well, not the interaction script, but like the interactor that you're using to interact with objects. For me, that's going to be a comma after the mono behavior, and I'm going to do I interactable. And down here, we're just going to do public void interact. And then this is going to execute the interaction code. Now, we're going to go above the public void, and we're going to do serialize field animator anim, and then once we do interact, we do anim dot set trigger, and then we are going to go to the trigger. We're gonna, oh, and in set trigger you put the name of what you called the trigger in the animator over here. For us that's door interact. Door interact, or is it door interaction? Door interaction, my bad. We do door interaction. So basically what this does once we interact with this, just realized I put it on the wrong thing because this door unlock does not have a hitbox, so we can't actually interact with this. So I'm going to remove component, and we're going to go to, instead to the door graphic. My apologies for this. We're going to drag it on here, and we are going to give it the door unlocked animator. Now let's give this a try. Let's walk up to the door, and it works. Now we didn't fully fix, yep, we didn't do the condition over here, and we didn't unloop time close. So now this should work. This should give us a simple door that can be opened and closed. Like that. Very good. Now, we are going to do the next door that is also very simple to do. We are going to make a door that is permanently locked. For this, I'm going to copy door unlocked. I'm going to paste it here. And I'm just going to rename this as locked door. Or actually, let's keep up with the naming convention, door locked. There we go. We have door unlocked, we have door locked. Now, what has changed? What do we have to do different? Not really a lot. We can go into our animator and just edit this. Let's go create a new clip. Let's just call this locked.anim. We're going to add a property, transform. No, not on the door itself, on the hinge. We're going to go into door hinge, rotation, and we're just going to add the rotation in. We're going to go to the 1 minute mark. We're going to add a keyframe. Now we're going to go to the 30-second mark or the 30 frame mark, whatever you want to call this. We're going to add another keyframe. We're going to go to the 15 frames / second mark. We're going to add another keyframe, and the same for the 45. We're going to add another keyframe. Now we're going to slightly turn the door when interacted with on the 15 and the 45-second mark. The reason we also put a keyframe in the 30-second mark is so that the door can default back to its 0, 0, 0 position. Rotation, my bad. So we have this. We're going to add a little bit of a turn, ever so slightly, because it's a locked door. It can't really open a lot. -1 should be enough. Now we're going to make a transition from idle to locked door, and from the locked door to the idle. It is very important that we don't add this from the open or the close, because, well, the door is already open or closed. This is also why we made the idle. If you just want to make a door that can open and close, and that's all that you have to do with doors in your game, the idle step is not needed. You can just do open or close. I recommend starting with close as the starting animation, so the door closes itself, and then when you get to it, it's going to be closed, and when you interact with it, it's going to open. However, if you want to make different types of doors and you don't want to make animators for every single independent door, this is the best way to do it. Now, when we interact with the door, it's going to open. Unless we tell it, we give it a bool, and we're going to call this locked. If the door is locked and we interact with, and we do the door interaction, this is not going to execute now because we just told it that the condition, oh, actually no, this has to be false, locked is false. We're telling this transition, we're just giving this some if conditions. If you're interacted with and the door is not locked, open. Now we go to this transition here. We're not going to give it any exit time. We're going to tell it door interaction has to happen and locked has to be true. Now if locked is true, then it's going to execute this locked animation. So let's give that a try. And it works. Now you could speed this up. You could go in here and tell it locked, and we could give it a speed of 2. Also, don't forget to turn off loop time on the locked door animation. So we can go over here. There we go. Very good. Now I would understand if you don't want to go into the animator every time to tell the door whether or not it is locked. So what we are going to do is we're going to go back to the door interaction controller. We're going to add another serialized field. And we're going to give this a bool. We're going to call this bool locked. And then on start, static, start. If you just type start, you don't have to type void in front of it and it auto-completes to this. So start, we're going to go anim.setBool. And setBool requires 2 parameters, the name of the bool you want to set, as well as the status of setBool. Locked is going to be the status of that bool. And in here, in setBool, you just give it the name that we gave it here. So that's going to be locked. So when the game starts, it's going to set the locked bool for every door. I'll show that real quick. I'm going to turn off locked on this one. In the animator, I'm going to go to door locked. We're going to go to the door graphic, and we're going to tell the door it's locked. So it should set the bool over here. We start it, and there we go. It's locked. But this one isn't, so this one still works. Now that is that for the permanently locked door. Now there is also, as you understand, there is also doors that can be unlocked when you have a key. So I'm going to move this over. I'm going to copy over the door that has been locked. We're going to rename it. And we're going to call it door unlockable. Just for the sake of naming. Now, when you unlock a door, I am most certain that you're going to want to give your player some feedback. So we're going to make another animation. I'm going to call this animation unlock. We're going to put this here. We're going to make a transition from idle to unlock and from unlock to open. Now this is not going to need, this is going to have exit time. Now the reason I'm putting unlock here is because we're going to play audio to give feedback to the player like, oh, the door has been unlocked. We're not going to do that this video itself. We're going to do that next video that should come out in like a few days. It's not going to be long. We're also going to need another bool. This bool is going to be called hasKey. And we're going to go to the locked parameter as well. And we're going to tell it if we do not have the key, play the locked animation. Otherwise, the door interaction happens. The door has to be locked on the transition between idle and unlock. And we need to have a key. Why is it important that we specify that the door is locked? If we, for example, forget to lock this door, or the door isn't locked but we accidentally assign it that it gets a key anyway, and we do not do locked is true, like we just get rid of it, like we have door interaction and has key, there is a chance that it's just going to play the unlock animation even though the door is unlocked. This is just an extra precaution, so to say. I'm not going to do anything in unlock, I'm just going to give it... No, actually, no, this is fine. This animation is a minute regardless. Not a minute, a second. With that being done, we now have the door that is unlockable. We have the unlock animation on it. Why are you disabled? Are the other doors disabled as well? I might have accidentally disabled it. That's fine. Now, you see has key. How do we tell it that it has a key? We can't tell it in the code. We can't say start. We can't say anim set bool has key. We can't do it in update either. So instead, we are going to do another public void set key. We're just going to go anim dot set bool, and we're going to go has key and true. We're only going to call this function when we collect a key. So when the key is collected, we just set this bool has key to true. That is all the code we're going to have to do in here. We're going to need to write a second script now for the key itself. Let's go back to scripts, doors, door interaction, and next to door interaction we're going to do create, and we're going to create another monobehavior script, and we're going to call this key interaction controller. I like calling them controllers because they, control what happens throughout the game. We're going to make a 3D object. We're going to get a cube. We're going to reset the transform of this cube. And this cube is going to be our key. So we drag key interaction on top of this. And we open it. Now we're going to get a interactable again. Public void interact. There we go. Once we interact with this, it's going to execute the code. And now we're going to get another serialized field. Serialized field. And we're going to call this. So we're going to do a serialized field, and we're going to call this door interaction controller. Door interaction controller. This can be called whatever you want, but just know that this is going to call the door interaction controller. What we're even going to do is we're going to make this a list. So one key can open multiple doors. Now we're going to go into public void interact. When this is interacted with, we're going to do for each that's a mistake. For each door interaction controller, door in door interaction controller, we're just going to do door dot set key, and that's all we're going to do. This is going to go through each door in the list that we give it, and it's going to unlock all of them. Or at least tell us we have its key. Now with that done, we go into the door unlockable, door hinge, the door graphic, and we're just going to drag it into the list here. There we go. That is everything done for this. As you can see, the door is locked. We collect the key by pressing E on it, and the door opens. Now, we also want the key to disappear, so after that has been done, we're going to do destroy, and GameObject. If you type GameObject without the capital G, that basically is referring to the GameObject this script is on. So that is something to keep in mind. That is all of that. So now when we try this again, we're going to interact with the key over here. It should get rid of the key. Yep, key's gone, and we interact with the door, and the door opens. Marvelous. That is everything to do a simple door system. In the next video, like I said, we will be going over how to add audio, and we're going to make a bit more difficult doors, like automatic doors, doors that open with buttons, all of that. But that is for next time. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.